Hi, Professor Gronlin here. Let's get started learning anatomy and physiology of the human body. We will begin with a few definitions and some basic principles that will be used throughout your studies, and then we'll start to build a common vocabulary. How about those definitions first? Anatomy. It's the study of the structure of the body parts, how those parts are related to each other. We will cover both gross anatomy, that's the study of the large body parts visible with the naked eye, and microscopic anatomy, the parts that we will need a microscope to see. Physiology is the study of the function of the body parts, in other words, how they work, what they do. A really important underlying principle is the principle of complementarity. This means that the function will always be reflected in the structure, meaning what a structure is capable of doing depends on its form. Well, what do I mean by that? A few examples may help here. Red blood cells are able to carry oxygen throughout the body because they are packed full of hemoglobin, a molecule which reversibly binds oxygen molecules. Neurons are capable of sending electrical impulses throughout the body very quickly because they have long cellular extensions called axons that function like fiber optic cables carrying your internet data. Skin functions as a barrier between the outside of the body and the inside of the body because there's lots of cell layers, they have tight junctions between the cells, there's waterproofing molecules between the cells, and on top of that, there is a protective fibrous protein called keratin inside those cells. As we go through the course, look for those connections, that beautiful relationship between form and function. Another underlying principle in A&P is homeostasis. All living things have some common properties that can be used to distinguish them from non-living things. These properties include things like cellular structure, metabolism, reproduction, responding to stimuli, and homeostasis. Homeostasis is the ability to maintain stable, favorable internal conditions even if there are changes to the external environment. I'm sure you are already well aware of this concept, the idea that your body, for example, has pretty stable internal temperature no matter what the temperature is outside. And you are aware that your body maintains fairly constant blood sugar levels and blood pressure levels. The name for that is homeostasis, and it's going to come up in almost every single chapter. Homeostasis requires three components: a group of cells or a tissue to detect the level of the condition. This is called a receptor. Second, a group of cells or tissue or organ called a control center that knows what the desired level for the condition should be. That's called the set point, and importantly, what to do if it needs correcting. Most often, that control center will be in one of your two regulatory systems, the nervous system or the endocrine system. And last, homeostasis requires a group of cells or tissue or organ that can bring the level back into homeostasis. That's called the effector. An example may make this clearer. Let's look at blood pH. Because your body systems are very sensitive to pH changes, we maintain our arterial blood pH between 7.35 and 7.45. Suppose that you are exercising and producing more carbon dioxide in your cells. The increased carbon dioxide makes the blood more acidic. A group of chemical receptors in your brain detects the change in the pH and sends a message to the respiratory control centers, also located in your brain. The respiratory control center sends messages to your lungs, the effector in this case, to increase the rate of respiration to get rid of that excess carbon dioxide. This will return that blood pH to normal. Pretty cool, huh? Especially considering that your body maintains dozens of conditions every day without you ever having to think about it. If you are planning a career in health sciences, you will need to build a vocabulary used in the health sciences. Essentially, you will need to learn a new language, a language that you will use then throughout your entire career. Learning a new language is not easy, but in this case, it is absolutely necessary. To master the language, you need to utilize learning strategies that work for you. Some people make and use flashcards for this. Some people record the terms and listen to them while they're in the car or walking their dog. Some people color code or mind map the words. Most people find that study partners are very helpful. For me, I had to write the terms and their meanings out over and over until I had a working vocabulary. You just need to practice and experiment and see what works best for you. You will need to learn basic terms, such as cephalic means head and appendicular refers to your limbs, as well as specific regional terms, such as your chin is called your mental region and your forearm is called your antebrachial region. Learning these terms as quickly as you possibly can is essential, and it will make things so much easier throughout the course. For example, once you know that the femoral region is the thigh, then you can easily find the location of the femur bone, the rectus femoris muscle, the femoral nerve, the femoral artery, etc. Once you know that brachial refers to the arm and cephalus to the head, then it will make sense to you that the brachiocephalic artery branches into arteries that bring blood to the arm and the head. I promise you, learning the terms is worth your time and effort. In addition to the body region terms, you will need directional terms. Most of these are paired antonyms. For example, medial is towards the midline of the body, and lateral is away from the midline of the body. Superior is towards the head, and inferior is away from the head. We will use the regional and directional terms to describe the position of one body part relative to another body part. For example, the scapular region is superior to the sacral region. Of course, you can always say that the sacral region is inferior to the scapular region. Likewise, you can say that the spleen is lateral to the stomach, or that the stomach is medial to the spleen. Okay, with that as a starting point, let's jump right into the anatomy and physiology course.